Today on Level Up, the impact of women-owned businesses on the U.S. economy is huge. And it not only keeps growing, but men, you might as well get used to it because women business owners are large and in charge. We are tough and we are on it. We are good at relationship building. We embrace technology and we keep things in perspective. Whatever comes our way, we don't cry about it, we handle it. The question is, can you? It's Women's History Month, so calling all entrepreneurs, get ready because it's all about the ladies. And guess what? We're taking over. Don't go away because it's time to level up.
Turn off your lights for Earth Hour. For our forests, our rivers, our oceans, our wildlife, and for our climate. For our Earth. Earth Hour.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up. Level up. Level up.
Hello, I'm Denise Smith, and welcome to Level Up. This year marks the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, giving women the right to vote and bringing the disenfranchisement of women to an end. Women have become doctors, lawyers, scientists, senators, engineers, homemakers, and let us not forget, entrepreneurs. Today, approximately 40% of small business owners are women. In honor of Women's History Month, we are celebrating the strides and success of women business owners. And today's divas, Monique Rose. She's a successful serial entrepreneur, CEO and founder of Milk and Honey, Mink and Honey, a success coach with Investing, Not Flexing, and the Monique Rose LLC. Shuwanda Williams, a CPA and CEO of Accounting and Tax Solutions, and Korey Johnson, Esquire, a contract specialist for Quantize Recording. She started her practice as a political strategist and consultant, helping political campaigns and small business owners brand and protect their businesses. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Nice to be here.
Oh, good. So, Korey, you graduated from Howard University School of Law.
I did.
Fellow alum,
Yes,
HU.
You know.
So what does it take? You've been helping businesses for about a year now.
Yes.
What does it take to become an entrepreneur?
Honestly, to become an entrepreneur, it takes vision, understanding what you want to sell, whether it's yourself, whether it's a different type of brand, making sure that there's a market for it. I think that oftentimes we think that we have good ideas and then we forget that someone else already had that idea and there's no market for it anymore. So making sure there's a market for it and pushing 110%.
Shuwanda, what do you think?
I think one of the things you need most is confidence in yourself. You've got to know you can do it because there's so many factors out there sometimes that will be coming against you. But you have to understand that you do have a vision for it. You have to persevere. You have to be willing to take risk. You have to recognize the challenges that come with it. And you have to realize also that you're stretching out of your comfort zone. You're doing something new, different, and innovative. And you're doing and you're being the best of you when you're stepping out in business.
All right.
Absolutely.
So, Monique, how did you enter the business professional world for your ideas?
That's a long journey. It started over 20 years ago. I call myself a serial entrepreneur because I honestly have always owned or operated some type of business of my own since my early 20s. And that's only because I realized very early on that I did not like working for other people.
Okay.
I was good at it. I made a lot of people a lot of money. But I realized early on that if I wanted to do something, I needed to do it for myself because I could do it the way that I wanted to do it. And just to piggyback off of what they said, I think it's so important to figure out what problem you solve. Solve a problem. That's what entrepreneurs are. That's all we do. We recognize the problem and we solve that problem. and hopefully you're doing it better than anybody else. So I think, you know, that's what's always intrigued me, and that's what got me into entrepreneurship in the first place, was just finding problems that needed to be solved. I'm in the restaurant business for the most part now, although I do other things. But did I see myself as a restaurateur? Absolutely not. That wasn't what I envisioned for myself. But I saw a problem and we solved it better than anybody. So that's basically what entrepreneurship is.
So I've asked this question to people before on this show before. Is when you're starting a business, is it something that you love? So do you love what you do, or are you solving a problem? I mean, or can it be both?
Yeah.
Well, I do. I solve people problems, and I'm in business
Well,
because
yeah.
I solve people problems. I solve financial problems. I solve tax problems. I started seeing entrepreneurship at an early age. My grandmother was the owner of convenience stores in the South, and as a little girl, from the time I could barely walk and talk, I was ringing up the cash register in her stores.
Okay.
And I often thought that everyone worked for themselves because my grandmother was an entrepreneur. My grandfather was a general contractor, and I saw that at an early age. I went in the business world, went through the ladder of being a CPA, and went through the Big 8 world at that particular time. And then I got that itch that, you know what, I really want to do this on my own. And then I recognized the fact that what I had been doing all the time was solving people's problems. And I like doing it. And because I like doing it so much, I call myself an agent of change. And I like listening to people, hearing how I can make their lives better and help them improve upon their lives. So I like to see people be successful.
Okay. So, Korey, who are some women entrepreneurs or business owners that have inspired you?
I would say the vice president of Quantize Recordings, Kelly Tribble Spencer, who actually owns a record label, which is really phenomenal. I've used her kind of as like a meter, if you will, for how I can start to develop my own business and my ideas. I will also say a lot of the young Black women business owners, I think, that you see on Instagram, whether it's selling hair or whether it's, you know, marketing, social media online, I think that people like that inspire me in terms of, like, you know, building my brand, building my business, believing in myself. And when you said believing in yourself, I was 110% with it, because it really is just a matter of believing in yourself and seeing all these other women do those great things.
Sure. Monique, how about you? Who inspired you?
I wish I could say, well, this is going to sound like cliche, right? But Oprah, seriously. Like, anybody who knows me knows that I just went to see her in Brooklyn, and it was the best thing ever. Only because of her humble beginnings and where she's been at. She's just the possibility of, that's what that says to me. But to be honest with you, who inspires me most are those women that I see in my community that work hard every day. Maybe not even entrepreneurs or business owners, but those who get up and they work every single day for the promise of something bigger for their family. So it's not even so much entrepreneurs that have inspired me, just the everyday working woman that is aspiring and wants something more for her family and for herself.
Sure. Okay. So what are some insecurities that you've had to overcome during your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, wow. So many. It's a lot better now in this day and age because there are so many women entrepreneurs, but being the only woman in the room has been intimidating at times, at least for me personally. Not only because I'm the only woman in the room, sometimes only black woman in the room, and then also the only person in the room that may not possess some type of degree. I'm a high school graduate. I dropped out of college. I had my son at 16. So there's no letters after my name or before my name. So to be in that room with people who have doctorates and, you know, went to Georgetown and, you know, and say all the right things in all the right ways had at times been intimidating for me, at least at the beginning of my journey. But now you fast forward now with 6 locations and over, you know, $15 million in revenue. And, you know, I have a place in that room now, even without, you know, the degrees and the accolades and my revenue speaks for us. So I have a different bit of confidence now, but I do recall and remember feeling out of place a lot of times in those rooms. Even though I knew I belonged there because I knew what I was capable of, it wasn't proven yet. You know, they say men lie, women lie, numbers don't. It wasn't shown yet that I was able to do that. So I felt out of place a lot of times in those rooms.
Okay, Shuwanda?
Yeah, I think I can agree with that also. Coming up during the era that I did in the accounting profession, it was definitely men dominated. And there were women in the room, but of course, as you've spoken so eloquently, I'm the only woman of color in the room. And you know, you don't know at times who's for you, who's against you, and you feel very alone in there. But you have to come to the understanding that you have a place in that room. And when I would find myself in situations that I felt like I was being played to be insignificant, I was reminded that I have a space, I have a voice, and I have a place. And that gave me the confidence to do what I needed to do to say, hey, I'm in this room and I'm here to stay.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there and we're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere because we're coming right back to this conversation. Women are making huge, historic inroads in the workforce, higher education, and entrepreneurship. Here are some very interesting statistics about women entrepreneurs according to the National Association of Women Business Owners. Number one, as of 2017, more than 11.6 million firms are owned by women, employing nearly 9 million people and generating $1.7 trillion in sales. Number two, businesses that are 51% or more owned by women account for 39% of all privately held firms and contribute 8% of employment and over 4% of revenues each year. Next, over 5 million firms in the United States are majority owned by women of color. And the next one, these firms, women of color, employ over 2 million people and generate $361 billion in revenues annually. According to a recent survey by Paychex, the state of Maryland has the highest rate of per capita minority and women business ownership in the United States, with nearly 42 minority owners for every 100,000 residents and 17.5 women businesses per 100,000 residents. Maryland's top 5 ranked communities in order of business ownership diversity were Capitol Heights, Beltsville, Brentwood, and Bowie, all in Prince George's County, and Gambrills in Anne Arundel County. Even though those are great statistics, women still have a lot to overcome. How did you prepare for being a business professional?
I would say looking to mentors in the field and reaching out to amazing Black women that have all done this work before me, I think has been one of my biggest things. Seeing women that are sitting to the right of me that have pioneered and paved the way for young women like myself to be in these spaces, I think has been monumental for me and in my practice. So, yeah.
Monique, how about you?
I think just doing the work. I've always been a worker, even when I, own my own, whatever. I always had something else going on. That allowed me to be able to own my own business. I'm okay with asking somebody else to do anything for me because I've done it for somebody else. So I think just doing the work, being okay with working and understanding that, it takes time and development and not wanting things to happen overnight, which I think our society, especially with social media these days, causes us to think that things are instantaneous. So that truly, I know, helped me in being a business owner, is just being able to do the work and not being scared of doing the work, because it puts you in a position where I can ask anybody that works in my company to do something because I've done it for somebody else. Yeah.
Shuwanda, what are some common mistakes first-time business owners make, and how can they be overcome?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. One of the things is doing your homework and being prepared. I think a lot of times, some business owners think if I go out here and get a large space and hang my sign out, then, they will come, and not necessarily so. You have to understand, what you are giving, whether it's a product or a service, who wants that service, who needs that service, and come to understand you're there to service somebody and to provide good service. You're only as good as your next client. So you have to come to understand that it's important that you recognize that you are serving, whether it's a product or a person, and you have to provide good service. One of the things, you have to make a good business plan, and you have to understand that that plan can change. You have to be flexible. I said sometimes I think we can overstate it and we take too much on. We want to grow too fast as opposed to just taking our time and just allow things to unfold and take it, take the baby steps. So I would encourage anyone, not to take on too much. Really understand what you are providing. Who is your clientele? What market are you serving? So you have to know the lay of the land for your business. Who's your competition? All these things you really have to take in consideration, because if you don't, you'll wake up one day and you'll find out that, next door, someone else has hung a sign up and their business is similar to yours, and you didn't know that was coming. So you have to really look at what you're offering. Be careful not to take on too much. Understand the money. That's very, very, very important, because so many small businesses are undercapitalized, and you have to be able to have those resources to manage your business when cash flow gets tight. How are you going to do that? Are you going to reach out? Are you in a position where you can get a line of credit? A lot of times with small businesses, that's very difficult to do. So you have to think about the financial planning, the customer relations, the customer planning. All those things come into play when you get in business. And when you're there by yourself, you're doing a lot of it by yourself until you can get to the point where you can grow and expand and have staff. But you have to learn to be the jack of all trades.
Now, we just heard some serious statistics, right? I mean, I never would have thought that the top 5 ranked communities in order of business ownership diversity would be right here in Prince George's County. What does that say for women business owners?
I think it's promising. I think it's a message of, let me say this. I have a couple of businesses in Prince George's County, and I will say that it was not an easy task to open a couple of businesses, a few businesses in Prince George's County. But don't let that discourage you. I think I think that's, again, the promise of if somebody else, if we all can do it, if somebody else can do it, we are no different than anybody else other than probably our will and desire for something. You can do the same. And I think that it's a great thing, because I think competition is a good thing.
Sure.
I don't shy away from it. I think it's that tells me that there's a market for it. It doesn't bother me when another brunch spot opens down the block or across the street or in the same plaza, because that tells me there's a market for it there. So there must be a need for women-owned businesses in Prince George's County, because it keeps popping up, and we are in the top 5, as you said, and even in the country, we're leading in this state. So I think that that's the promise of, if you're thinking of it, I say go for it, because you have so many examples all around you of why it's possible that you can do it.
Sure. So what does it take to do business here in Prince George's County?
Patience. I don't know. I only
Say it again. Say it again.
Patience. A lot of patience. Yeah, just patience. And the reason why I say that is because, as all government entities, things are not as streamlined as you would like them to be. You have to go here and then go there, and then they send you across the hall into another building, and it feels like discouragement. It can feel that way, but don't take it that way. Just keep pushing through. That would be my only advice, and that's just from my own personal experience opening restaurants in Prince George's County. Although we do great business, and I'm so happy, and actually I'm going to open another in Prince George's County, it can feel like discouragement, but don't let that discourage you. Still push through, because you may find a better way for the next person behind. I'm quite sure that I've assisted, a couple of restaurants behind me, and no, this is not what I do, it this way. Call them and try this. And you don't have to do that. You can do this. So just talking and networking and going through it, you'll be such a help to somebody else that's coming behind you trying to do the same thing.
Okay. Don't go away. We will be back with our female powerhouses after this break.
Play Eric Amarola's Race Day Mix.
Welcome back. We are celebrating Women's History Month, and in the studio with me today are some dynamic women business owners. So, Korey,
Yes.
what so far
Yes.
are the best and worst business decisions that you have made, and how have you
that's a
learned
good
from
one.
them?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, best decision I've ever made has been asking for help. I think that oftentimes we suffer from superwoman syndrome, where it's like, I got it, I can do everything, I can make this happen, I can make that happen, and I can make it happen tomorrow, I can make it happen the next day. And I think that that's the hustler spirit that a lot of women have, is that I'm just gonna get it done regardless. And I think one of the best decisions I've ever made is asking for help, especially when I don't know the answer to a problem. I would say that was, I guess that's my best and my worst. My worst is that I didn't ask for help and that I tried to do everything on my own. And I think that that's when I wasn't doing very much. I wasn't reaching out to political candidates. I was afraid. I was nervous. I was scared to ask, would you like me to handle this contract? And I think that when I started asking for help, when I started relying on people and, hey, maybe I need help with this, I think that that was probably the best decision to this day that I've made with my business.
Shuwanda, can you give us an example?
For me, I think the best decision I make, and it's an ongoing one for me, I always make it an opportunity to educate my clients. I think that's so important because I'm in a service industry. And I find in the financial industry sometimes that people have things done and they don't understand why. So I go to the nth degree to make sure I serve my clients well, even if it's to my detriment sometimes, going the extra distance, discounting something, doing something to make that client feel reassured, assured that they're getting the best service. And then I can say sometimes too, the worst experience has been sometimes when, you have to turn away a client. And you have to do this in the service business. When a client is asking you to do something unethical in my profession, you have to do that from time to time. And you have to be confident in who you are and understand what you're called to do. And it doesn't make a difference, but you're doing the best thing in the customer's interest, even when they don't understand it. So I think my thing would be is the fact that I try to go out of my way all the time to do the best thing for my clients.
Monique, you're in the customer service industry.
Yes.
Is the customer ever wrong?
Yes. Contrary to popular belief, they are. But you don't make them feel that way or believe that. It is very difficult to be in an industry that relies solely on people on both sides, right? Because I don't have a robot behind the counter. I don't even have a tablet. We're not McDonald's where you can walk in and that's a person. That's a person taking your order that may have gotten into a fight with her boyfriend before she arrived or found out that her aunt passed or whatever. So she's reliant on feelings, he or she is relying on feelings and emotions and human just nature things that can affect their mood. And then on the flip side, you're dealing with people who may have just broken up with their boyfriend, come in after a funeral or whatever. So you have human elements on both sides of the equation. It causes for people to be wrong. Sometimes we're wrong, sometimes the guest is wrong. But our job is to make sure, even if you're wrong, that we've done you right. Regardless of how, even if you've come in with an attitude or that, no, we prepared this to our menu specifications, but it's okay, ma'am. We understand that you may be going through something. So our job is to be right, on the right side of right, even when they're wrong. But guests are wrong, though. I just want everybody to know that. You can be wrong at times. Nobody is perfect, and neither are we, which is another thing that I want to say. When you're in the service, and please don't have to, we're not perfect. We make mistakes. We run out of eggs or, something happens just like it does in any business. Just afford us the same leeway that you would want, if you were on the other side of the table. Try to just, understand that, particularly for small business. There's somebody that's running that business. There's somebody who put their blood, sweat, and tears into that. They don't purposely run out of eggs. I would never, as a restaurant, do that on purpose, but things happen. And I think if on both sides we are more understanding of each other, things would be so much smoother.
Okay, Korey, how does social media how do you use social media or advise businesses to use social media for their branding and marketing strategies?
Yes, so I think that social media is important in terms of my business. I've reached out to people and I've connected with people. I think that has been 100% helpful for me, reaching out to not just potential clients, but also maybe some mentors of mine that I've developed over the last year and a half, or just asking questions. I think it's very easy. You get very quick solutions to very big problems using social media. I think that the way that I've been advising the few clients that I have had since I opened my practice has been using the tools and I guess services that they have on Instagram to show, when should you post? When should, I take this picture with this influential person, which has been really, really important. And I think it's essential for branding, especially in the new age where people are looking for quick things to, I'm scrolling down my timeline. I need my hair done tomorrow. Who can I go to? Who can I see? Is there a flyer? Is the flyer, have good information for me to use? I think that that's very important when using social media.
So I'm going to need an appointment with you after this show. So I just need to make sure that I get your contact information.
I got you.
Now, Shuwanda, someone who is in the financial industry, do you need social media as much?
Yes, you do need social media, but let me tell you what I have discovered over the years. When you're dealing with people's finances, you're dealing with their financial life. And over the years, I've had an opportunity to see my clients' children, help them prepare for college, help them get married, and you go through all the phases of their life, and you come to understand in this particular business, integrity is very, very important. So I get a lot of business off of referrals because they feel that they want to have someone they can trust with their information. I find from time to time, not only does it become a financial issue, but you also discover family issues. And today we're going through so many different type of issues in our family that affect our financial world. We're dealing with taking with parents, kids to college. So much of that plays into the financial arena of life, period. So I find that, those referrals, I find out for often people call me and say, well, this person referred me. I heard you were great. I heard you were good. I heard you were honest. And when I hear that, I know I've done something well, because a lot of times I do get clients from people who've made a lot of mistakes. And, as I said earlier, I help people solve problems. So I find that the referral is still one of those number one ways. And I think social media is good, use it myself, but it's good also when I hear those referrals say, you give good customer service.
Okay, really quickly, if I could just get each of you to just answer this question. What is one piece of advice you would give to a budding entrepreneur, someone who hasn't gotten out there and stepped out there and started their business yet, but they're ready to jump? Monique.
Pick one thing and do it better than anybody. Okay. Don't try to be everything to everybody. Okay. You pick one thing. We picked brunch. We do it better than anybody. We don't try to be all things to all people. Pick one thing, and then you can branch off. Or pick one thing and kill it.
Shuwanda.
Understand what you're called to do. And if you understand that as the bumps in life happen, when you get down, you'll get back up again. Understand that every day is not going to be perfect. Understand there's going to be problems, but have faith in yourself that God has given you this ability and this vision, and work with it and continue to work with it regardless of what you see. I would say have faith in yourself.
Korey.
I would say do your research and protect your brand and your business, and that not just jumping haphazardly out there, but making sure that you secure, your logo, making sure that you secure your name, your LLC, making sure you do things properly.
Okay. Korey, Shuwanda, Monique, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
As women continue to rise to the top in the world of entrepreneurship, today I just want to say thank God for the 19th Amendment. And that is our show for today. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I want to thank my guests, Monique Rose, Shuwanda Williams, and Korey Johnson. This show and previous episodes are posted on our YouTube channel, Level Up CTV, so make sure you go out there and hit the subscribe button. Also, sign up for my small business club for a chance to showcase your business on this show. Send an email with the link to your company website to levelup@pgctv.org. If you would like to see your business on this show, take a selfie. That's a picture of you and your business, and it has to be a picture of you and your business. Send it to me on Twitter at Denise Smith 2022 and be sure to use the hashtag LevelUpSelfie. Level Up is proudly sponsored by Bill Prince George's. I'm Denise Smith, your host, and I will see you next time on Level Up, where your success is our success.